At the close of the Second War, Ner'zhul recklessly opened portals across Draenor, forever altering it and creating Outland. But why? Well, the truth was, he was attempting to flee the Burning Legion, and kill Jaden specifically, although, as mentioned previously, it is likely the Skull of Gul'dan had at least some influence in this decision. The sheer quantity of raw portal energy required naturally drew the attention of the Burning Legion, as well as kill Jaden specifically. Ner'zhul and his closest followers were immediately captured and tortured into submission. At length, Ner'zhul agreed to spearhead a new invasion of Azeroth on the Demon Lord's behest, but different this time. The demonic horde was a truly terrifying force, nearly unstoppable as it raged across two worlds, but it was by its very nature constructed of people. People who were, it's worth noting, gorged on fell energies at the time. We all know what fell energies do to the mind. Thus, the demonic horde, ultimately, was its own downfall. So the next foray would be more focused. An undead army that would grow from their fallen enemies, directed by singular purpose, to prepare Azeroth for Legion invasion. Ner'zhul had his soul ripped out, enclosed into a chunk of nether ice, and infused through specially crafted armor designed to match the two tools he was being granted: the Helm of Domination and Frostborn. Special mention must be made of these armaments, as they were fabricated by the most skilled runecrafter in the known universe, the Primus, one of the Eternals of the Shadowlands, the realm of the afterlife. These were empowered with the concept of domination, and tremendously powerful runecrafting. It could be argued these were the most powerful artifacts Azeroth has ever seen. These artifacts happened into the Legion's possession via the Nathrezim, servitors of Denathrius' long story. Thusly empowered, Ner'zhul became the first Lich King. His icy prison was hurtled down to Azeroth, impacting into the ice-crowned glacier to form the Frozen Throne. From his bitter detainment, the first Lich King formed an extended force consisting of both the living and the undead, dubbed the Scourge, by one of his most loyal lieutenants, the human archmage Kel'Thuzad, formerly of the Kirin Tor. One of the more pivotal events in the Scourge's history was the damnation of one Arthas Menethil, a driven paladin whose soul was claimed by Frostmourne, changing him into Death Knight Arthas. Spending years preparing for his first assaults upon Lordaeron and Quel'Thalas, the Scourge were rather successful. Their next target was Dalaran, to use the city's magical architecture to summon the demon lord Archimonde directly into Azeroth, who promptly took control of the Scourge away from the first Lich King and abandoned him and his lieutenants to proceed with the invasion of Kalimdor. This too was planned for, and in short order the first Lich King's loyal agents assisted the recently released demon hunter Illidan. While this might seem like an odd choice, this was a surgically precise move, and ended up removing the Nathrezim Tichondrius from the board, destroying the Skull of Gul'dan, which was being used to control the Scourge and corrupt the Felwood, and thus severely weakened the Legion's advance. It cannot be overstated how close the battle against the Legion was during the Third War, and this interference by the first Lich King was one of many crucial elements that led to this victory. The fallout from this open defiance was not insignificant. This action ensured that Kil'jaeden would attempt to force Illidan to destroy the first Lich King, directly leading to the union of Kael'thas and Vashj, and the many events that followed. This also meant that Death Knight Arthas would slowly lose power from the wounds Illidan left on the Frozen Throne, forcing an extended journey north, assisted by Kel'Thuzad and the Crypt Lord Anub'arak. It should be mentioned that the Frozen Throne's seeping power directly caused the first Lich King to lose direct control over countless undead across the world. This left many with their own freedom and will, but still trapped in the bodies of the dead. This group would rally under one of their own number, the so-called Banshee Queen Sylvanas Windrunner. Abandoned by the dead and shunned by the living, she dubbed her people the Forsaken. Meanwhile, Death Knight Arthas and Anub'arak arrived at the ice-crowned glacier to find Illidan, Kael'thas, and Vashj arrayed against him. All three forces were brought low, their leaders barely escaping with their lives, and Death Knight Arthas ascended the glacier to personally view the throne. There he shattered it, releasing the first Lich King and donning the Helm of Domination himself. In this act, the minds of Ner'zhul and Death Knight Arthas, as well as Arthas, merged into a joint being. A state of being that Death Knight Arthas could not abide, who promptly eradicated Ner'zhul and banished Arthas. Thus was born the second Lich King, who would spend the next several years in quiet meditation and control as his scourge rebuilt, rearmed, and prepared for what was to come.